Today, we are talking all about my 3-step follow-up system. I've talked a lot about this system over the course of the past year, but I think it's really important to bring it up now in kind of like a follow-up, if you will, to when I talked about in my previous video and episode about how following up can be harassment, right? So let me take you through the exact steps of my 3-strike, if you will, follow-up system. I know that sounds kind of harsh. It's not that harsh, but I think that the biggest thing with this system is it empowers you to be able to let go when it's time to let go, and it puts the ball back in their court so that you can detach from the outcome. But starting with the 3-strike follow-up system, assuming we did everything that we needed to do, right? Like we talked about in the last episode, which was set up the time frame, the schedule, the reason for the follow-up. Let's say we do all of that correctly. What should we do during those follow-ups? And when I say my 3-strike follow-up system, pretty much this is basically what you do when you get ghosted, right? And you're like, why are they not responding? We set up a time, they were so excited and revved and ready to go, and now it's just not happening. So what's a girl to do? So step 1 is what I like to do is sometimes some would call it playing dumb. I like to make sure, hey, did you get my email? Or did you get the contract? Or did you get the invoice? I ask because sometimes in my head I sent something out and I actually didn't. And sometimes, right, spam filters happen. So my first following up usually takes place 24 business hours or so from our last touch point, right? So let's say they said they were ready to go, you followed up, you sent the contract, the invoice, the share cart, and then nothing. And it's been a while. So it's been at least like 24 hours, sometimes longer. If it's weekends, I go the whole weekend and I touch base. Step 1 is, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you got my email, my message, my share cart. I want to make sure it went through. My internet is weird, my email, I just want to make sure you got it. So it's very casual, very low stress. And usually people will reply and say, hey, like life just got busy, work, things happen. Okay, perfect, awesome. Just checking in, and they follow through. But let's say they read that message and don't say anything. It's like, okay, what comes next? Step 2 in the 3-strike system is recognizing that there is a reason they haven't followed through on the purchase, on the contract, on the share cart yet, and bringing awareness to the fact that that's usually rooted in fear. And so I am very open and upfront with people, and I will say, hey, I understand that what's going on right now is likely rooted in fear. And so I will talk them through it. And I'll say, hey, I understand that making an investment like this is scary because you've never done it before. I felt the same way, but what I found is blank. So some like to bring in the feel, felt, found. I like to put on my coach hat immediately and say, my job here, and the only reason I'm here is to help you get what you want. So if there's any fear standing in the way of you getting what you want, let's talk it through, because I want this to be an empowered heck yes or heck no. And I let them know that that is my only goal, is for them to be a heck yes or a heck no. And I'm detached from the outcome. And so usually in that point, people do open up, right? And it's usually a fear surrounding money, the investment, the time. And sometimes they have some questions that for whatever reason they didn't ask earlier in the sales process. And this is a really great opportunity to, again, put on your coaching hat, open up a dialogue, and really help your prospect come to the best conclusion that makes the most sense for them, where they are, and their needs. And the conversations I have here are some of the very best, because people are not ghosting you to be mean. They're ghosting you because sometimes facing our own fears is one of the most difficult things we've ever done and will ever have to do. And when you're there thinking about them and not just thinking about yourself and closing the sale, that's what's going to make a world of difference between you being successful, right, and you not, is when you're there to serve people. Now, when we get to strike 3 in this 3-strike system, This is where I do get a little bit more bold and direct, because between message 1 and message 2, this whole time span is probably taking a week, 2 weeks, depending on the timing and what's going on. So they've had ample time to respond to you, whether it is they want to back out or something came up. And so I don't want you waiting on the line, waiting to move forward or holding off on filling that spot, right? You've got to move forward, and you are making every possible communication effort to make sure that you are here for them. So basically, my third message is basically saying along the lines of, hey, I'm going to move on and close your file. Let me know when you're ready to move forward. And so with this message, you can be as direct or as indirect if you want. I personally think being more direct is going to get the point across here that, again, you are not chasing people. You have things to do and people to serve. And so with this third touch point, if they've ghosted at point 1 and they've ghosted at point 2, basically by point 3, I know that it's not an ideal client that I'm meant to work with at this time. Could that change in the future? Yes, but usually this sign is really telling, and the reason why I'm able to detach from the outcome is I know that letting go of this individual is going to free up space and free up energy for me to be able to serve the person who I'm meant to serve and who's ready to get started. So at this third point, I will say something along the lines of, I totally understand that this might no longer be a good fit, and it's totally okay. If anything changes, let me know and we can chat again to see if maybe we're a good fit to work together in the future. And I will leave it at that. Sometimes, depending on the person or the scenario, I might open up a question to say, is there a better time that we can touch base about this in the future to kind of set a touch point for us down the road? And that is totally up to you. If you feel like, yes, I want to be able to touch base with them down the road, this likely just wasn't a good time, and it's not just that they aren't the right person, then awesome, do that. But generally around this point, maybe you'll start to recognize some red flags of they might not be the best fit for this group or this mentorship, and that's why this apprehension is coming up. And so I'll put the ball back in their court, release myself from it, and say, hey, I understand that this might not actually be what you want anymore, and that's 100% okay. My job here is to just make sure that you're getting what you want, and if that's not working with me, I can respect and I understand that. Let me know if you need anything else. And sometimes people will respond to this, usually they don't, but remember the purpose of this third step here and this final step is for you to be able to energetically release. You put the ball back in their court. They can try to put it back in play in the future if they want, but ultimately that decision is up to them and not you. So at this point, no, I do not continue to follow up with someone about that same thing. Do I stay in contact with them? Yes. Do I engage on their content because I enjoy who they are and what they create? Yes. I am just not constantly following up with them about the same offer because, again, part of what we teach and what the Stop the Hey Girl community is about is not chasing. People come to us when they're ready, and when it's a right fit, they jump in, and if it's not, they don't. But I'm still showing up, still serving them, still giving them freebies, still inviting them to be a part of what we're doing because, number one, you never know. It could have just been right person, wrong time, or you never know who this individual could refer to you in the future. And that, I think, is one of the most exciting things about this business is sometimes people come to us and what we offer isn't serving their needs at the present time, but who knows? Maybe you're hosting a group 2, 3, 4 months down the road that fits their needs perfectly. And wouldn't it have been so much better for them to wait until it's meant for them to jump in? Because if they jumped into the wrong container, maybe they would have faced disappointment, and if it wasn't the right fit, it could have harmed any progress they could have been making. So really trusting in the fact that the right people are going to sign with you. And sometimes, and oftentimes a lot of the time, people who are wrong for us will cross our paths, and our job is to make sure that we go over to them and we help them get where they want to be, whether that's working with us or whether it's not. I hope that this was helpful, kind of getting an idea of my 3-step or 3-strike, as I sometimes call it, follow-up system when we get ghosted, so so that you're able to show up, serve your people, and not get bogged down by chasing people that are just not right for you. I cannot wait to hear what you think about this episode and this video. Whether you're watching on YouTube or on Apple or Spotify, please take a screenshot, tag me on stories, tell me your favorite part, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. All right, why do I hate this lighting? I hate it.
You hate
But what are we doing? We are
making HelloFresh.
You want to share the recipe?
Daddy, what recipe is this?
It is shawarma chickpea couscous bowl. That is what we are making. Not sponsored yet. HelloFresh. Hey, what's up? How are you? And I am chopping this pepper. We already cut up carrots and shallots.
We have couscous, lemon, chickpeas, guava powder. I'd say the wrong one. Cilantro.
Daddy's favorite.
No, his not favorite. And what sauce is this?
That's veggie stock.
Dried apricot. So it looks like gummies.
All right, here we're gonna speed this up. This is sped up for B-roll.
Yeah, right.
Strips. Bell pepper, yum.
Baby stab.
This looks pretty good. How's the couscous that I made, Teresa? You guys are both trying my cooking. Cruz, how did I do? I made it all by myself. Well, Teresa helped, but Daddy didn't help, and I rocked it. Did I do a good job on that?
I like the chickpeas.
Awesome. I'm so glad. And Teresa, eating your favorite noodles and cheese, and I made you your own separate couscous because I forgot to get 4 servings of this recipe because the whole family likes it. So I've already been eating mine for a little bit here, but it's couscous, chickpeas, carrots, peppers, pickled onion, and then a homemade garlic sauce. So good. HelloFresh knocked it out of the park with this one. Quiet on set. We'll see. So with there is a fly flying around my office, and it's a big one. Oh, God. Cha, cha, cha. Ha! We crushed it.